released. The latest edition, a grand chandelier-filled ballroom with a $200 million price tag. This is what it looks like. It'll be the first structural change to the executive mansion in decades. Construction starts in September and will be ready for guests and big dinners before the president's term ends in 2029. Here's what he had to say about it.
We've been planning it for a long time. They've wanted a ballroom at the White House for more than 150 years, but there's never been a president that was good at ballrooms. I'm really good. In fact, I looked at one that we just built in Turnberry in Scotland, and it's incredible. We're good at building. I'm good at building things, and we'll get it built quickly and on time. It'll be beautiful, top of the line.
The Hill's In the Know columnist Judy Curts joins us this morning, and Judy knows everything, entertainment and politics, so this seems right up your alley.
Right
Judy?
up my alley, absolutely. We're going from big, beautiful bill to big, beautiful ballroom now.
It is quite grand. Why don't you fill us in on some of the details?
Quite grand, as you mentioned, $200 million price tag, 90,000 square feet. This is actually a project that President Trump has long sought after. During the Obama administration, he actually floated the idea of paying $100 million to construct this ballroom at the White House. At the time, the Obama White House kind of saw it as a way to troll them more than anything else and waved him off. But he didn't make it happen during his first term. Now, during his second term, he really wants to make that mark on the White House with this new construction.
So, you mentioned Trump said, hey, I'll pay $100 million for the ballroom. He's not paying for this one out of his own pocket money, I assume.
He said he is going to pay part of it, but it's very unclear at this point where these private donations that he mentioned are coming from. He said it's from patriotic donors. We don't know if those were to his inaugural committee. We don't know much about these private donations. Critics of this ballroom, this new effort, Democratic congressmen have come out against the mystery factor surrounding the donations, saying, half jokingly maybe, are we going to see a ballroom sponsored by Carl's Jr.?
It's interesting, though, because presidents do put their mark on the White House. We're going back a little bit, but if you remember, President Gerald Ford put a swimming pool in that then was filled in
by the press gallery. Yeah, they certainly make changes, and the Oval Office changes with every administration. They put their personal touches on it. And the last major project of this scale was back in the Truman administration, 1948. Harry Truman basically gutted the White House. The Trumans moved into the Blair House across the street during that time and made a lot of changes to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue during that time. After that, Jackie Kennedy came in, and given the massive scope of the Truman administration's changes, that spurred her to kind of curtail changes and want to preserve the White House and really stop these major constructions in the future.
So you mentioned a lot of folks, well, I won't say a lot, some people not a fan of the move to pay for this big ballroom. Let's listen to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
The White House announced construction of a $200 million White House ballroom that will begin in September. A $200 million ballroom. Where'd this money come from? Did Congress appropriate it? I don't think so.
So, Judy, we were talking last night, before they had this ballroom, when they had to do these large events, they put up a tent. You've been inside this tent. Is it dinky? Is it not a good look?
I've covered more state dinners at the White House than fingers I have on my hands. And one of them, or many of them, I should say, are constructed in these large, unsightly tents, as President Trump has said. They are large. I don't know about unsightly. I took some video back in 2023 at the Australia State Dinner at the White House. And inside the tent, I don't know if we have the pictures, but it's very ornate. You would never know you were in a tent until, you walk inside there.
It's got chandeliers.
It's got chandeliers. It doesn't seem like, it's not a camping trip type of tent we're talking about here. But it is a few steps from the White House. And President Trump has spoken before about how when you're walking to these tents for these state dinners, the women in particular, your heels are going into the grass, which is, I will say, a gripe that some women have.
So what's it going to look like? We all know what the White House looks like. We can all see it in our heads. When we look at the White House, where will this really big addition go?
It seems to be where the East Wing currently is, and that's where the First Lady's offices are. They are going to be modernized, according to the White House. We don't really really know if that means tearing down that space or what that entails at this point. The White House has said that it is going to update us along the way, get more of a feel of what this is going to be as the construction goes on.
I guess what stood out to me in the renderings was a lot of gold.
A lot of gold that is within President Trump's taste. And look, the critics, might see this as an opportunity to really take apart the optics here. And this is like a MAGA flavored, let them eat cake type moment.
It's grand.
It is certainly grand, but when people are, struggling to pay for groceries and for school supplies, is it really the best timing for this kind of project? President Trump seems to think so.
Right.
Well, maybe the common man could have a dinner there.
Maybe.
Open it up to the public. Let everyone have a public state dinner.
In the No columnist, Judy Curts. Judy, we certainly do appreciate it. With that ballroom, you never need a rain plan, right? Because everything's going to be indoors.
Find a